All right, let's get right into this because it's one heck of a story. We're going to trace the absolutely incredible journey of the P-pop group SB19. I'm talking about going from a debut that was met with, well, complete silence to totally commanding global stages. And it all starts with one single, kind of brutal number.
0. Yep, you see that right, 0. When their first song, Tilaluha, came out in 2018, that's the number that was staring back at them. This wasn't a slow start or a modest beginning. It was a dead stop, a total standstill. You know, the kind of digital silence that can just completely crush a dream before it even gets off the ground.
And that kind of brings up a feeling I think we've all had at some point, right? That feeling where you're pouring every single ounce of yourself into something only to be met with nothing. Just crickets. That's the real human core of this story, and that's exactly where we're going to begin.
So let's really frame this journey. We're starting with that sound of silence back in 2018, and we're going to contrast it with the absolute roar of triumph they're hearing right now. The difference between then and now, it's just staggering.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It's wild. On one hand, you have 2018, a debut song that nobody hears, views stuck on 0, and the guys are so defeated they're seriously thinking about just breaking up. Then you flash forward to today, they're selling out the massive Filipino Arena for 2 nights straight, topping international Billboard charts, and everyone's calling them the global ambassadors for P-pop. So the big question is, how in the world do you get from that to this?
Well, the answer is in all those years that nobody was watching. Before any of the fame, before a single view started ticking up, there was the grind. This was not some overnight success story. It was a group literally forged in an unbelievably demanding, tough environment. And this timeline, it really lays out the gauntlet they had to run. They were part of this super intense Korean-style training system under a company called T Philippines. What did that mean? It meant years of rehearsing with no pay. Just think about that dedication. It also meant constant, high-stress evaluations where they watched their friends and other trainees get cut from the program. And all that hard work, all that sacrifice, it led up to the debut of Tilaluha, which landed with a thud. That moment must have been absolutely crushing. So what keeps you going when you're getting absolutely zero validation from the outside world? Well, according to the group's leader, Pablo, it was this. It was an internal compass. In a recent interview, he basically said their whole journey was always driven by passion and purpose. So even when the world couldn't see any purpose in what they were doing, they held on to it. And that right there is the key. You know, every story like this has that one turning point. For SB19, it wasn't some big-budget marketing campaign or a huge record label push. Nope. It was a single, super authentic video that was basically a leap of faith, and it changed everything for them. The scene is pretty simple. It's September 2019. The group posts a dance practice video. No fancy camera work, no cool sets. It's just them, in a practice room, dancing their hearts out to their song Go Up. It was this totally raw, unfiltered look at their talent and their work ethic. So yeah, they recorded this raw practice, basically threw it online as a last-ditch effort, and it just exploded. It went viral for reasons you just can't manufacture in a marketing meeting. People saw the insane, razor-sharp synchronization, sure, but more than that, they saw the hunger. You could feel it. They saw 5 guys giving it everything they had, and suddenly, the world finally started paying attention. But look, going viral? That's just step 1. The next chapter of their story is all about dealing with the new challenges of success and, more importantly, taking full control to become the absolute masters of their own destiny. Now this was a total boss move. After going through all these legal struggles just for their own name and trademark, they didn't just win the fight, they changed the entire game. They went and founded their own self-managed label, 1Z Entertainment. And just like that, they had full creative and business control over their future. And the results of taking that control? Well, they speak for themselves, don't they? Their song, Damn, hits #1 on a Billboard chart. They're performing at huge international festivals. They're named the official artists for a global gaming championship. They won a massive fan-voted award, beating out global superstars. And of course, there's that sold-out arena tour. This is what happens when raw talent meets real autonomy. So really, this is so much bigger than just one band's success story. Their whole journey has basically created a blueprint, and it's totally reshaping what it means to be a Filipino artist on the world stage. And it's about reclaiming cultural ground. And this is why it matters on such a huge scale. They are living proof that you don't have to water down your own culture to get global success.
They're proudly using the Filipino language, ancient scripts like Baybayin, and uniquely Filipino stories in their music and their videos. They're taking their culture to the world, not changing it for the world.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It really captures the heart of their story. In an industry that can feel so manufactured sometimes, SB19's rise is this powerful reminder that real, authentic work, the stuff that's driven by pure passion, it will eventually find its people. It will win in the end.
So we end up right back where we started, but now with a totally new perspective. That zero wasn't the end of their story. It was the foundation. It was the necessary starting point for everything that came next. And it kind of leaves us with this final thought, right? What if that moment in your life that feels like a dead end is actually just clearing the path for your own global stage?